I have a few videos in mind that I am getting ready to do in the upcoming weeks. This video, which is the most important things that you need for the self, is something I have been thinking about. I also am going to do that video about the last step and how we can fix this and overthrow the system. Also, a video that I would like to talk, and then I'm going to do a worst case scenario in case people don't want to do that, what we can do, and that is worst case scenario. And I have a couple other video ideas as well, but those are the main ones. This one I felt, and also when I have on the placebo effect and perception. Placebo effect slash perception slash belief slash if you believe it, it will happen. Not really happen, but if you believe something will affect you or won't affect you, the odds of that being true is extremely high due to the fact that your mind is controlling it all. You need to realize that. So the three most important things of self, I believe I have said this before, I just am not went into detail with it, is self-control, self-belief, and self-love. And if you can master self-love, if you can, let's just say, self-love is the most important one, because let's just say that if you have an abundance of self-love and you truly have self-love, the chances of you having self-belief and self-control are astronomically high. So, if you can skip steps and go straight to self-love, then more than likely you will master the ones that I mentioned prior to this. But the reason self-control is so important is because if you do not have self-control, you are feeding off of, you're letting things feed off you instead of you using them. So for example, food, I have a difficulty sometimes. I'll get real strict on a diet, eat super clean, and I'll work out super, like a ridiculous amount, probably unhealthy realistically, and then I will get burnt out on it, and then I'll eat shitty foods and work out for a while. But if I had self-control, I could moderately work out and moderately eat healthy foods, and then every now and again indulge in some shitty foods. But the problem is, I'm either all in or nothing at all, essentially, in a lot of things I do in my life. And the same thing with drugs. Like I'm to a point now to where I can't do drugs because I know I can't control it. So the chances of me ever drinking again or ever doing recreational drugs are pretty slim to none, just because I understand where it can lead, because at this point I have no self-control. In certain regards, I do, but I don't, if that makes sense. I do, but I don't. I guess it just depends on the day. But that is why it is important for those things. And also, if you have self-control, you're not going to let your emotions get out of hand. You're not going to make silly decisions based on emotions. You're not going to jump to spur-of-the-moment, irrational and illogical decisions that will impact and affect your life. And then if you go into self-belief, why self-belief is so important, and this kind of goes into the video I was going to make on the placebo effect slash belief, etc. If you have self-belief, you are going to be able to do things that the majority of people would deem to be impossible to do, just because you believe you can do it. You have that confidence in yourself you can do it. The human mind is designed in such a way that if you believe it, if you believe you can't do something, then you can't do it. If you believe you can do something, well, then you can do it. And the only reason that's preventing you from doing it is because you don't believe you can do it, for one, and you're not trying, for two. So it's one of those things to where if you think you can do it or don't think you can do it, you're right. So self-belief is extremely important. A lot of people have very severe confidence issues. A lot of people do not believe in themselves, and they don't see themselves in the light that others see them in, and they don't see themselves as being worthy. They don't see themselves as being able to do certain things. They think they're weak. Certain things of this nature. Like if you would have told me 3-4 years ago that I would have went through the stuff I'd went through and came out of it, I would not have believed you if you would explain it to me in detail what I had to go through, because I was mentally weak. I was extremely mentally weak. I didn't have any. I came across as like cocky and arrogant sometimes, but deep down I didn't really have that much self-belief or confidence in myself, unless I had drugs in me. Now, if I had drugs in me, I was convinced I could do anything. And then we go into self-love, and then if you can get self-love down, you won't even need to worry about these other two, because they will fall in line. Because if you love yourself fully and unconditionally, you will have self-belief and you will have self-control, because you will love yourself enough not to put stuff in your body. You will love yourself enough not to skip a day of working out. You'll love yourself enough not to get on too stringent of a program to where you know you're going to set up for failure eventually. So, and you will also not let your emotions get out of hand. You will not let silly decisions be made. You will not get angry over certain things. Now, a lot of stuff goes along with this. It sounds simple, but it's really not. I guess it can be if you believe it is or want it to be. But just from experience, you have to deconstruct a lot of things to get to certain points. That's what, before I used to get annoyed listening to people talk and giving advice and talking about this stuff, because I was like, they just make it seem so easy, and you can't do that. Like, you just can't make yourself do that. And if you think you can, just make yourself do something. Wake up one morning and tell yourself this is what you're going to do throughout the day, and see how that plays out. It's one of those things where you almost have to make yourself do things, and that's something that's annoying to me. Is if I could get my body to go along with what my mind knows and wants to do and needs to be done, then I would be fucking perfectly splendid, fantastic, unstoppable. But I think it's one of those things where you have to get your body to do it, and then after some repetition, it just gets used to it, and then it does it. But anyway, so those are some huge factors in play that are important, extremely important. Self-love, going back to this where I forget this and get off topic. Some of the things I come on here and say that you should do and need to do, they sound simple, right? And if you're wondering, well, why doesn't it work? Like, why is it not as simple as he's making it sound? Is because you have to go through a process of a lot of deconstruction and a lot of understanding things and a lot of detachment from beliefs, ideas. And you really, I'm going to make a full video on this. You really have to lose your human mind. And that may sound scary. That may sound like something that will freak you out at first, because it did me. But I knew I was losing my mind, and I looked at it as a completely negative situation. And now, the more that I was going through the process and the further along I am now, I understand that was the best thing that ever happened. Because losing the human mind is the thing that is going to catapult you and set you up to the next level. It's hard to understand and comprehend things with a very limited scope of perception in the mind, in the way that it has been installed into you and ingrained into you over the years. That's why you have to hack it. You have to hack the human mind. If you can hack the human mind, you are beyond golden. Beyond golden. But I do plan on making a video on that as well. Why losing the human mind is the most important thing that will ever happen to you. The most valuable thing that will ever happen to you. But if you can jump to that self-love, you got it. But the self-love is the most important thing. Those are the 3 most important things, and self-love is the pinnacle of those things. Because if you love yourself, you're not going to judge yourself. If you love yourself, you are going to strive to do better for yourself. If you love yourself, you're going to dispense with a lot of the negative bullshit. You're not going to judge others. You're not going to project things on others. You're going to heal yourself, love yourself, and not reflect this into the world. So, and something else I've noticed too, like as I've went along with this process, it seems like more and more and more and more and more people out here in the world are experiencing it and going through it. Is that a coincidence? I'm just saying I've noticed that things, you control a lot more things than you realize you can control. So maybe pay attention to that. Maybe pay attention to that. Pay attention to the things that are coinciding with the things you're doing, that are coinciding with your shift, that are going along with your change in mindset, your improvements as a human, and the evolution of your mind. Like, pay attention to these things. It will benefit you greatly. Don't get tunnel vision. See the bigger picture. But those are the three most important things to the self. And it's just a game of form and the play of life for eternity. And I am you talking to you, and so is everyone else in this reality. So let's wake up and fix it, eh? Love you guys.